Over the summer, my no-comply frontside 180s looked something like this, and I struggled session after session with what felt like zero progress, until I started to notice a few things that took me from this to this.
Hi, I'm Sarah, and today I'm going to be sharing 3 secrets that helped me unlock a consistent no-comply frontside 180 for anyone that might be struggling with the trick, and also share a crazy easy 5-step method so that literally anyone can learn how to do it. Now, to do this trick, I don't think you really need to learn any specific trick. You could literally probably learn this as your very first trick. However, you should be super comfortable on your skateboard, and that includes riding switch. You'll be landing in switch, so you definitely need to know how to push and feel comfortable in switch. And if you're really struggling to get this trick, you might just need some more board time. So take a break, skate a little more, try a few other tricks, and then come back to this one. So let's break it down.
A no-comply 180 is done by standing on your board with your front foot somewhere close to the bolts near the heel side edge and your back foot square on the tail. As always, if this positioning doesn't seem to be working for you, experiment and find where your body and your board feel comfortable during this trick. All you have to do is turn your shoulders while you step off with your front foot while popping the tail of your board, which then magically swings around so that your back foot becomes your front one and you can jump back on and roll away switch.
If only it was that easy. But it is, I promise. By now you've probably watched tons of other tutorials on how to no-comply, and I really hope that this video will just offer you a different perspective on how to look at them.
When I started, the board always got stuck between my legs, and I had a hard time getting the board to fully rotate, which I incorrectly thought might just be because my legs are so short. But I found out that wasn't the problem. To get a really good no-comply 180, I found that you really need to turn your shoulders and the foot you step off with. I found that as soon as I fixed that, I almost unlocked the rotation. You can see here how my foot is turned in toward the board and much too close to it. That messed me up every single time. And instead of only focusing on turning my shoulders, I started to focus on stepping off with my front foot facing out away from the board so that I'd have no choice but to turn in that direction. Doing this gave me more space for the board to rotate, helped the board itself rotate, and helped so that my body would be facing the right direction to jump back on the board switch.
The second problem I ran into while learning this trick was the board flipping pretty out of control, and I found that a few different things caused this.
One, I was popping my tail off the ground way too hard. You can see that I popped so hard that the board would almost immediately jump way out in front of my foot, and I didn't even have a chance to catch it. The pop is actually pretty gentle for a no-comply 180. Once you step off with your foot turned out, your body naturally wants to turn that 180 degrees, which will help you get the rotation. So just relaxing a bit and popping a little more gently, coupled with pointing your toes, could help a lot. Because yes, the second secret is to point your toes. I found that when the board jumped away from me, my front foot was typically really open. It was almost turned away from my board. But when I closed it off and really tried to follow the board around, tried to guide it or catch it, the board wasn't able to flip even if it wanted to. Sometimes I could block the flip just by really exaggerating that motion of pointing my toes inward.
Now the last secret has everything to do with how you're leading. I found that because I was having a hard time committing to jumping back on the board, and because I was nervous, even though the board was rotating, I was leaning back. And because I was leaning back, the board would either land too far out in front of me, or I'd be so far away from the board that it would flip. And this was frustrating because I was getting it to do the rotation. I was able to jump on afterwards, but it was never smooth and it wasn't consistent. So I tried leaning forward and it worked. I pretty much was able to land my very first no comply that was on purpose and not on accident. I think that when I leaned back, I also accidentally put too much power into the pop just because I would lean back and my foot would bounce off the ground, making it both wild and inconsistent. But paying attention to these three things: stepping with my foot turned out, popping gently while turning my toes in to hold the board, and leaning forward turned a sometimes make into a consistent no comply 180. So now, with all that in mind, and I realize it's a lot, I'm gonna share a really simple 5-step method to practicing the no comply. You've probably heard of practicing the no comply 180 stationary, and that does work. It's a good little exercise to use if you're interested in it, if you think it'll help you as a learner, but that's not what I'm gonna go over today. This is my method.
Step 1. Stand back and away from your board in a riding position. Right now, the board is where it should be when you want to jump on it at the end of the trick. Now, you need to step with your front foot turned out, rotating your shoulders, and then jump onto the board, as if you were landing a no comply. This will help you get comfortable jumping into the switch riding position and also help you work on commitment even before trying the trick. And it will help you feel that rhythm of jumping from one foot to the other. That 1-2 step rhythm is really important to help this trick look really smooth and buttery. The next step is popping the board up into your hand, almost at a diagonal. It's kind of like doing half of a front shove it, but you don't have to worry too much. Just pop the board up, grab it with your hand, and then you can throw the board the full 180 rotation with that hand and catch it with your foot. This is just an in-between practice step.
The truth is, I'm teaching you how to no comply frontside 180 nose grab. And I know you might be thinking, Sarah, that's not what I signed up for. That's not why I clicked this video. And I know, but it's worth it, I promise. Just hang in there.
Step 3 is to pop the board up into your hand, twist around, and land switch. We're basically doing the no comply without doing the no comply. So just practice this motion of popping the board up, grabbing it, turning, and stepping back on so that in the next step, you can start right from your board. Step 4, set up just like you're going to do a no comply 180. Step off with your foot turned out.
Or in my case, it's kind of like a little hop. The thing is, when you're pushing down on your tail and you slide your front foot off the board, you might accidentally create too much force and too much of a popping motion that could lead to the board getting a little out of control. Or you might be sliding so close to the board that you can't really get that nice open foot placement that I talked about. So I don't really step off. It's more of a hop. But anyways,
step off with your foot turned out, and at the same time, pop your tail, grab that nose, keep turning, throw the board back down, and land switch.
So this is the no comply frontside 180 nose grab. And learning this trick first made learning the no comply 180 so much easier. Because once I got this trick down, all I really had to do was depend less and less on my hand until I could basically just slap the board as it turned around. And then I didn't even have to do that. It helped me learn how to step off, how to rotate my shoulders, how to follow through with my back foot so that it ended up as my front foot, and then how to jump back on switch. This trick taught me everything. All I had to do was let go. Plus, I got to learn 2 tricks, which was highly motivating in the meantime. And you could go from this to this to this. I know this video is long. If you stuck around until now, thank you so much. I'm gonna end this video with some slow motion footage of the no comply frontside 180 both regular and goofy. But before that, I really hope that you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you next week.